Hello, kitty girls. Here I am showing my feet on the internet for free again. But no, seriously, this is my updated cure routine. This toenail routine only takes me 10 minutes on a good day and an hour if I really want to get into the nitty-gritty. But this is so easy and it's budget friendly. I love it. This is the only way that I do my feet now, and it's very convenient because it's also the same press-ons that I use for my fingernails, in case anyone was curious. Now, not too much on my feet because my toes were in desperate need of some TLC. I know this. That's why we are here. Also, I have that little scar on my foot. I'm not exactly what from, but it looks so ugly. Anywho, I'm going to start with this little cuticle pusher. These things are so handy dandy. Get them at the beauty supply store or anywhere else. They sell little beauty tools, usually 99 cents. If they're charging you any more than that, you're getting scammed. But if you really want to get the cuticle completely removed, I use this softener because my dead skin is relentless. Obviously, I love my cuticle softener, and I believe writing things until the wheels fall off. So this is just me getting into the bottle by any means necessary to get the last drops of this pink goodness. But I just slather that around my perimeter and let it do its magic. Accident prone and stain prone, because I don't know where that little pink spot came from, but we're just going to pivot. Perfect. Now we can go into cutting off the cuticle with the other end, which is kind of shaped like a little V razor. It's sharp, so be careful. I like to scrape along the nail plate and then go around the cuticle, the curve of the cuticle, and take off the skin. An alternate method is sometimes you see people with clippers. They'll go in and physically cut the skin off, but I don't think I am that coordinated, and I always end up cutting myself. So if you believe in your abilities, there's that method. Or if you're doing a dry pedicure, you can use a drill bit. But between my last tutorial and now, my drill has broke and I haven't been out of my way to buy a new one. Doing it the old-fashioned method by hand has been working just fine for me though. We're just going to continue scraping. The big toe is always my favorite low-key because it's got the most dead skin. Well, mine does, personally. And it's just so satisfying scraping all of that skin stuff off. Ooh, look at it. Yes. Okay, so now this is when I would just trim down all my toenails, make them even. They're pretty short right now because they've been chewed. And then we're going in with this fine grit file. It's not as rough as compared to the second one I'm going to go in with. Keep that in mind. When you're working on your natural nail, you don't want to be too harsh because you will damage your nail plate and you'll just be super sensitive, and you can even form allergy to some of the nail products we're going to use, like the glue. But I just want to rough up the surface a little bit, get some texture on there, take off the shine, and if there's any of that cuticle or eponychium left on the nail plate, we're going to really get that off so that we can stick our press on and not have any problems. And I love this shape of the nail file, the curve of the file and the round tip. It allows you to get right into that cuticle crevice. I don't know, I've got a meaty big toe, so I have to pull it back sometimes to really put, do my big one. But we're gonna get it done for sure. I never needed a salon. And after cutting that edge, we're just going to file that free edge too to make sure that everything is uniform and nothing is snagging us and going to stick out from underneath the press on. Then just dust away the excess and we're going to unpack our nails. The brand I prefer to use is Kiss Always and Forever, but the specific collection is the Bare But Better line, and they have the prettiest colors, the most natural looking nails, the strongest drugstore nails that I've used. So instead of having a gatekeep mentality, I want everyone to buy these nails and they'll become more accessible to everyone because they're so hard to find in stores like Walmart and Target. They don't carry the entire line, so I have to get lucky or go to specific beauty supplies. So I can do a full set on my fingernails and my toenails off of the same pack. it's beautiful, all for $10. Now, after all the prep we did, I don't do anything extra to the nail, like buff the inside. I just go straight in with the glue. And make sure that your toenails, I know we dusted them, but make sure they're completely dry. There's no moisture at all, because that will mess with the way that they adhere. Make sure there's not too much glue, and then you just gotta press that thing on there. Like, I'm moving a little bit fast because I'm used to this. I'm a professional at this point, but your first time might be a little bit crooked. As long as you shift it before it's completely dry, you have about like a 30-second window, I will say. After that, it's stuck like Chuck, and it's on there for a good 2 weeks. Unless you're willing to pry your press-ons off, this glue is really good. Any pink nail glue I will endorse. It's not about the glue, to be so honest, it's about your application. So if your press-ons aren't sticking, perhaps you're the problem. And I will say, some people's nails just don't agree with the nail glue, so maybe you need to do another method like UV gel. But this is good for me because I haven't had any allergies to this, and it's really easy to take off if you do need to change them really quickly. If one does happen to break or something happens, it's easy to swap out. But for the most part, it's really just about the same process as press-on fingernails. Once you find your sizes, it should be smooth sailing from there. It's just about applying and shaping. I always like to let my nails rest for a little bit too before I go straight into the shaping process, because that glue underneath it takes a little bit longer to dry. I don't want it to be tacky and for there to be dust particles in there. As much as I wish I could have floor slappers, I cut them down to an appropriate length, which I think my toenails are still kind of long, to be honest. Often I find myself filing them down to fit inside of my tennis shoes, but baddies wear sandals anyway, so this is like literally the BBL toenail. Like, this is how I fake a BBL toenail for $10, because tell me it doesn't look like somebody just gave me a full acrylic set on my feet. And then this is the second nail file I was talking about, the little bit coarser one. It just is easier to file the plastic and shape it. So unless you want to be filing all day with the itty bitty file that comes in the package with the press-ons, get you one of these bad boys, and I love them. If you notice, this one's not round like the other one, and that's because for shaping, I like a square, and it's just easier to hit those corners when you have a 90-degree angle to go off of. Pro tip. After crisping the corner of each of my toenails, I low-key go back in and round them back out, because I don't want them to be so sharp that I'm cutting holes in my socks. But I do think that square is the best shape. And if you're advanced enough to like draw for a French tip girly, this is the perfect base for that too. The Bare But Better line by Kiss, I'm telling you, it's just so good if you want a blank slate to work on. People ask me all the time, are these my natural nails? And honestly, I owe half of my beauty routine to Amber Scholl, because she put me on. I know I was dissing white toenails in my last tutorial, but yeah, I often struggle with decision paralysis. So having something as simple as a nude nail color that I stick to makes it so much easier for me on maintenance days. I don't have to spend brain power picking out a color or a pattern or design. I already know what it's going to look like, and if I do happen to chip a toenail throughout the week, I've got a whole pack that I can just pop one on and go about my business, keep it pushing. So this method is really for the movers, the shakers, you know, the baddies on a budget. And after I clean up any of the dust from filing, we're going to go back in and rehydrate our cuticle, make everything look all juicy. And now we're nearing the end of this tutorial, so we're going to go ahead and oil up our feet. We can't have crusty toes out here. And since the devil is in the details, I'm going to go in with my tweezers too. You don't have to do this step, but sometimes if I stare too hard at myself, I notice things like my toe hair, and I would wax this off, but tweezing was just the most convenient method at the moment. So I did that. It really just ties the pedicure all together, doesn't it? This is someone's fetish out there somewhere, so you're welcome for that. This very specific content. Hey, hit me up. College is expensive. Just kidding, kind of. But this is it. This is my tutorial. This is how I keep my feet looking suckable without the salon, and I hope you enjoy this updated tutorial. Let me know if you try this method out, how it works for you, if you ever go back to a salon, or if I changed your life. Love it. Let me know if you think if the BBL toenail epidemic has gone too far. Sound off down below. Just let me know. Thank you for being here and watching this tutorial. I will catch you in the next one. Bye.